Hey everyone, this is Brian from ActiveMelody.com. Now in our typical lessons, I teach you how to play blues on electric guitar, but in this lesson I'm on a nylon string acoustic guitar, and we're going to learn how to play melody and rhythm at the same time, fingerstyle guitar. There was a request from OGL with me on Active Melody. She was requesting that, and a couple other people have asked for this as well. And so this is a bit of a diversion, but I think it's a good lesson. So the melody I'm going to play is Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, but I'm going to show you how I do it, how I take a simple melody like that and work that into a fingerstyle. So let's take a look at that. Alright, so what I'm going to show you how to do is make your own compositions on the guitar out of melodies. So if you know a melody, like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, you can make your own compositions. Now this is I'm going to assume you're a little bit more advanced in your playing. If you're just a beginner, this is probably going to be a little too complicated for you. But I'm also going to assume that you have a pretty good ear for music, because a lot of this you're just kind of making it up. But there are some rules you can follow that will help you to do this. So the first thing you got to do is figure out which key you want it to be in. Now I picked the key of G, and here's how I came up with that key. First of all, I always start, if I'm going to do a little composition, I start with either G, C, or E. Down here in the first position, chords that are played down here on the neck, because there's a lot of open strings usually in those chords, and it's kind of easy to create your melodies down here. The farther up the neck you have to go to create a melody, the more complicated it gets, and the harder it is to keep a rhythm. So, and here's kind of the logic I went through when I was picking the key of G. I started in C, and I went, let's see, okay, so if it was C, I know the chords to Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. So I was going like this. But then the next note is up here, which is that F. And then I could play an F up here, but it gets complicated. So I thought, oh, okay, forget that key. Then I tried E, and then to C. But it's too low. So I didn't like that. So I could have done it there, but when I found G, there's an open G there anyway, and that was the first note of the melody, so I thought, oh, that works out pretty good. So once I figured out which key it was in, then I pick out the melody. So I've just learned how to play just the straight up melody. Okay, so once I've got the melody and the key, then I got to start putting together some kind of composition. Now, this is where the next thing you got to do is figure out how you want the timing of this thing to go. Do you want it to be, and the one that I chose was like, it was like that, and that's not the typical way you would hear that song, but I thought it made it a little more interesting to play it that way. Okay, so now that we have our melody down, now we have to get to the hard part, and that's putting together the rhythm part. So if you'll notice, when I'm playing down here with my left hand, I'm really just kind of playing the chords. Or I'm holding my fingers in the positions of the chords. There's not a lot going on with the left hand. The right hand is doing most of the work. And the first thing I do is I pick out the bass part. So the bass in this case is kind of this low G, or the low note in the chord. So what I do is I play the bass with the melody like this. And if you'll notice again, with my left hand, I'm just switching chords. And that's really all I'm doing. So there's not a lot going on there. That sounds kind of boring, obviously, and so then you start adding to it. You think, well, what can I do? Now, the key to this whole thing is creating some form of a rhythm. So what if you did it like this? that's starting to sound a little better. So, and what you're doing is you're filling those off rhythms with another note. There's 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. So you got kind of a rhythm thing going. Something that you could tap your foot to. And I could have left it at that, and actually that's kind of a nice melody. I thought it would be kind of cool to do more of a Chet style, which is... And what makes it that kind of Chet, Merle Travis sound is the bass part that goes like this. Chet's usually either doing that, or he's either doing that one or he's doing this. But it's easier for me to do this one. And so listen for that part when I'm doing this. Hear that? It's just a constant. So once you can define the bass part and then throw the melody on top of it, you've really got it. Now, all that's, I made that look very easy. There's a lot to that. And the key to learning this is doing it very, very slowly, but very accurately. So get a metronome if you can, or something to keep time with, and try and do it on the beat and not make a mistake, even if the beat is really slow. It's kind of like patting your head and rubbing your stomach. It's one of those kind of trick things. So here's the melody. If I slow it down, here's what it sounds like. And so here are all those extra little notes. All I'm doing is just playing other notes that are in the chord. Here, right there. Look at my left hand. I'm just holding the G chord there. And so when you're doing it slow, it doesn't even make sense. It's when you hear it kind of up to tempo that you can start, your ear can start identifying those notes that make it the melody. All right, so when you're first starting to make your composition, start off with something simple, something like... Now I say simple, that's actually more complicated than it sounds. But you can do this. Trust me, if I can do this, anybody can do it. You can make these compositions. If you're having trouble, if you're stuck and you have no idea, there's a melody you want to be able to create and you don't know how to do it, film yourself, put it up on YouTube, and then put it on the forum at activemelody.com. I'd be happy to take a look at it and help you out and try and give you some pointers. I think that would be kind of cool too. So see what you can come up with in creating your own melodies. I'd be very curious to hear some of them. Hopefully that wasn't too complicated. We'll see you in the next lesson.